So in the latest episode of Demon Slayer, we see Hagenezuka, that one swordsmith, get super buff. So how exactly did this happen, besides of course the author just deciding it would happen? How realistically could this have happened? Well, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is that Hagenezuka was training for something beyond himself. He was training to be a better swordsmith for Tanjiro, so maybe that inspired him to train extra hard in the mountains. This laser focus also made him have very bad interpersonal skills, because every other indication seems to suggest that he would actually gain less muscle and have his muscles shrink over time while being in the mountains. When you're in the mountains, your ability to output power decreases. Higher elevation isn't conducive to muscle growth, it's actually conducive to muscle depreciation, to muscle atrophy. It's conducive to muscle endurance, actually. There's a Kenyan tribe that takes over all the track and field events. They live in a very high altitude. That's how they are able to get their lungs to such a high capacity to where they can run for a very long time. That's how their limbs have shaped over time. That's why their muscle mass isn't as much, because they're conducive to muscle endurance. They're not trying to, their muscles aren't meant, their body isn't designed for muscle hypertrophy. And the same is likely true for the Tibetan tribes that live up in high altitudes. In fact, living in high altitudes has immediate epigenetic effects. This means that it immediately changes your genetic expression when you live in a higher altitude. A Science.org article says, the data revealed significant differences in the methylation patterns among the groups. Genes involved in creating red blood cells and building endurance muscles were more methylated in that place, who were born and spent most of their early life in high altitudes, regardless of whether they moved to lower altitudes later on in their life. Endurance muscles work contrary to hypertrophic muscles, so this would make sense if their environment is suboptimal for building muscle. So yeah, even staying at a high altitude for a short period of time has shown to have this effect. Now, this isn't to say that if you live in a high altitude right now that you're killing your gains or anything like that. Like, unless you live in a very, very high altitude where this becomes something very significant, it probably isn't going to kill your gains or anything like that if you just live a little bit above sea level. So all in all, high altitudes seem to inhibit your ability to gain muscle and promote your ability to have muscular endurance. So this means that Hagenezuka's training was suboptimal, but he still was able to make gains. And I think that should be inspirational for all of us. Even if you have suboptimal environment, even if you have a suboptimal genetics or whatever, you can still make gains. And I think that's a good place to end the video on. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.